can I read a top email?
Wow, Dave.
Hold on.
What? Elis has asked to read an email, Dave.
It's quite long.
Have you had a word with Elis in the week, Dave?
I feel like
about his attitude.
The lines have reversed because I'm in Salford. I'm sure Elis just offered to read the email.
All right, do you know what?
I'm still me, am I?
I banged my funny bone. And
that's not a metaphor.
And I've got pins and needles in my fingers and in my forearm, and I've done now for about 18 hours.
So, have you?
Yeah.
That's not great.
No, even I've got pins and needles in my shoulder. I mean, I banged my funny bone on a door handle, and I immediately got sharp shooting pains all the way down my forearm. I didn't hit it particularly hard, sort of that hard, but right on the spot. And I can't really close my arm. It's really weird. It's a very odd sensation. I must admit, I was a funny bone skeptic.
Why?
Because people are, when you bang your funny bone, I banged my elbow, but this is...
Well, you didn't believe that there was actually a funny bone?
I just thought it wasn't that bad. I thought it felt a bit funny for about 30 seconds, but I'm now almost a day into this.
It comes with the territory of being a second homeowner, because you've just got so many door handles. You've got so many doors, so many edges.
And I don't know where any of them are.
They're new edges.
Yeah. So many quartz units.
Actually, I did this in my current house.
Did you?
Yeah.
My current house, unbelievable.
Yeah, Dave, please don't. Like a normal person, I'm going to have one house as of July or possibly August, depending on how things are going. Mm-hmm. I haven't turned into Robbie Fowler.
We all live in a Robbie Fowler house.
Right. I'm going to read this email, and I'm going to put up with the pain of my funny bone. Dear Elis, John and producer Dave.
What do I do now, Dave?
Hey?
What do I do?
Scratch yourself.
Okay.
You listen.
Yeah.
You respond.
Do John. I nod?
You can. If Elis looks at you, you can nod. But if Elis isn't looking at you, there's no real need to nod.
Can I go on my phone?
As long as Elis isn't looking at you, you can go on your phone. Don't make a phone call, because that's rude.
I'm emailing in relation to the theme of reaching one's peak, which you had as a call-in topic a few weeks ago following Wales's glorious re-entry to the World Cup. The high point I reached was when I got to surreptitiously represent Carmarthen Town for several years in a visual form. I'm thinking Elis, as a fellow Carmarthen Carmarthenite, may find it interesting, and it may even help to stir up some nostalgia of a 90s Carmarthen. I've attached a photo of a postcard that was shown to me one morning at school during my A-levels. A classmate waved this in front of me and said, "Henry, you're on a postcard." And yes, I and my three friends, Ben, Tom and Dan, were on a postcard of Carmarthen. It was in continual circulation and available from all of the town's best and busiest newsagents. Number 1, Good News, where Mam worked in the 60s, and maybe even Cogan's, which I drove past the other day, until the early 2000s. To paint a picture for the listener, it is a nondescript image of a square in Carmarthen replete with a W.H. Smith's and a small tree in the foreground with some pikes stuck to it. The tree's still there. There are people walking around the square, and in the middle are myself and my friends. I'm the one in the Public Enemy t-shirt in the middle with John Power hair. Good luck, I thought. You may recognise my friend Dan Mitchell on the right. You know Dan, we started off doing comedy at the same time as Dan, and I saw him quite recently.
He compared my first ever gig.
Yes, I think he might have compared mine. No, that was Frank, but he was certainly at my second or third gig. We think we'd been hanging out just before escorting him to a Saturday shift, stacking shelves in Tesco. Unbeknownst to us, we'd been papped, and the wise heads of Pembrokeshire Eye postcards. God, these bright young things were the ones to take Carmarthen's tourism to the next level. This, for me, was the high point of my young life, forever representing my hometown, my face flying out to all corners of the globe, telling far-flung relatives of the fairly mediocre holidays and rainy days families were experiencing in West Wales. Now, I actually remember this postcard.
Yeah, the postcard is sort of, I wouldn't say it's sort of bland enough to be in a sort of, it probably is actually bland enough to be in like a coffee table book of boring postcards.
Yeah.
But it's not like... it just looks like a pedestrianised town centre in the 90s.
The court there is now a coffee shop. And if you'll notice, John, the W.H. Smith has the old 90s font.
Yes.
When it was still brown and orange as opposed to...
And right in the centre are 3 young lads just sort of striding down with the exuberance of youth.
Yeah.
Did you know that Dan Mitchell was in this postcard?
Dan showed me this postcard about 10 years ago. And
really?
I was so impressed.
Did you know it before that?
I knew the postcard before it.
But you never recognised Dan?
But I hadn't recognised Dan, no. And Henry, I vividly remember from school, because he was in sixth form when I was in the first year, and you always know the sixth formers because they're cool. But yeah, I don't think I remember the other person. But I do recognise Henry, there he is. Dan in his school uniform, striding, looking very confident. However, my life continued for a number of years as if trapped in amber following that point. Nothing much done, nothing much achieved. Bad A-level results, terrible uni choices. I moved around the country, worked terrible jobs, got engaged, bought a home, split up, sold up, went travelling, came home, wondering all the time if my life could move forward to a higher point than the moment when I realised I was on that postcard. However, in 2006, the existence of this card made a significant reappearance in my life and has, as a result, become part of our family folklore. In May 2006, I went to Amsterdam to watch Arctic Monkeys with some friends and acquaintances from home. Amongst them was a woman I vaguely knew, but had only very, very shyly spoken to once before when we both worked in Safeway.
Now Morrison's.
Yes.
This actually features in a Van Morrison song, Safeway.
Is it? What, the supermarket?
Yeah, it's in St Dominic's Preview. He talks about the Safeway supermarket in the rain.
It became Morrison's in the 90s, I think, because I remember it being Safeway.
Oh, no, later than that.
Do you reckon?
Yes.
Oh, well, why don't you Google that and I'll read the rest of the email. Her name was Frances. She was lovely. She was beautiful. We got on well. We chatted about Carmarthen and the people we both knew. We shared stories and told each other about our lives to date. At some point, me being from an outlying village and knowing how deeply connected to Carmarthen Frances was, with attempted self-deprecation, I tried to impress her with my aforementioned postcard appearance, making light of the role I'd played in taking Carmarthen to the world. And then she said, hang on, I've got that postcard. I had it on my desk all throughout university in the 2 years I spent teaching English in South Korea.
Wow.
I didn't realise that was you. That was 2006. We married in 2007, yes. We're still married now. The picture attached is of the actual postcard she had with her for those 5 years. To this day, I'm convinced that her hiraeth, which is a Welsh word for longing, for home, and my dazzling, overgrown bushy hair somehow combined to subliminally convince her that I was the one, or at least a potential candidate for oneness. He's very humble, Henry. I like that. So my high point of the mid-90s came back and redelivered. In fact, it's given me an ongoing high point of being married to a great and amazing lady.
Oh.
To be honest, I'm punching, so I think it's going to be an ongoing high point. Anyway, take care. Love the show. And someday I may tell you of the positive role it's played in my life. And I also have a shame well to share too. But until then, take care. Henry. Thank you, Henry.
Superb story.
You're
Superb saga. And Safeway was taken over by Morrison's in 2004.
Oh.
It has made a reappearance as their own brand.
Has it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, good supermarket.
A good supermarket, great email. Thank you so much for sending that in, Henry. A lot of nostalgia as Elis looked at that old photo of Carmarthen
Well,
Town
just Guildhall
Centre.
Square just looks the same as it does now. I just love it. Oh, God, look at that. That's where Littlewoods was. Blimmin' Littlewoods. And obviously that would have been Woolworths, but now it's a B&M.